This is Alert Now. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal expected to join an already crowded Republican presidential field with an announcement later today that he's running for president. First, though, he's live in Baton Rouge, and we welcome him back here to America's Newsroom. Governor, good morning to you. Thanks for your time today.
Bill, thank you for having me back.
What are you going to announce today?
Well, look, after a lot of thought and prayer with my wife, my best friend, we're going to be ready to make our final decision this afternoon. Folks will have to stay tuned. You can watch it on Fox broadcast live. We'll make our final decision. Bill, I will tell you this. I think our country needs big change. I think President Obama and Hillary Clinton are trying to turn the American dream into the European nightmare. They're trying to move us towards government dependence, more borrowing, more spending. It really has moved towards socialism. We need not just to send a Republican to Washington, D.C. We need to send somebody who's going to make big changes. Somebody who's going to recapture that American dream for our children and our grandchildren.
So, as Governor, are you running for president?
Like I said, Bill, folks have to pay attention. This afternoon, we'll make that final announcement this afternoon. My wife and I, we've made the decision. A lot of thought, a lot of prayer has gone into this. We've got a lot of talkers in this race. We need a doer. You know, I've not just talked about how do you replace Obamacare. I've got a plan. I've actually reduced the size of government at home. We've cut our budget here 26%, over 30,000 fewer government bureaucrats. We need that kind of radical action in D.C. We need that kind of dramatic change in direction, not incremental change. Okay. America can own the future.
We are going to be careful about the language. I'm going to take it as a yes. And that's going to happen later today at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. You have an uphill climb, as you know. On the screen for our viewers, you come to a crowded field. There are 16 names on the screen, Governor, of those who have announced or expected to announce, and you're at 1%. Now, what do you bring to an already crowded primary?
Well, Bill, I'd say, one, this is a wide-open race. I think on the Republican side, it's going to be earned. It's not a coronation. It's not an auction. I think we bring a couple of things. One, I'm the only potential candidate that's offered a detailed plan. How do you replace Obamacare? How do you rebuild our nation's defenses? How do we reform education? How do we get to energy independence? Those are one-liners for others. We've actually presented detailed ideas. Secondly, we've got a proven track record. We measure prosperity by how our people are doing in the private sector, not the government sector. And so we've reduced the size of our government. We're a top 10 state for job creation. Bill, this race is wide open. If I listen to polls, I never would have run for governor. I never would have reduced the size of my government, never would have done statewide school choice, never would have privatized our charity hospitals in Louisiana. If we get in this race, we'll get in this race to win it.
All right.
It's about changing the direction of our country.
A little bit about you now, okay, from Bloomberg. Listen to this on screen. Jindal, the first Indian-American governor in the U.S., is a 44-year-old evangelical, Catholic conservative, and Rhodes Scholar policy wonk whose advisors say appeals to a broad swath of the electorate. That's a mouthful. What do you want people to know about you, sir?
Well, look, in addition to being a governor, I'm a husband, I'm a father, 3 great young children. I do take my faith seriously. I think one of the big issues in this election will be the fight for religious liberty. The reason I'm so passionate about this is I want my young children to live the same American dream that brought my parents to this country over 40 years ago. Though they'd never been on a plane, they were coming to the idea of freedom, of opportunity. They couldn't Google Louisiana back then. They couldn't Google America. There wasn't an internet back then. But they knew in their bones this was a special place. The reason I'm so passionate about this is I want my children and all of our children and grandchildren to have that same experience. And I worry about what this president, what Hillary Clinton are trying to do to America.
Okay, now, there are, you tell a fascinating about your father, too, when he first came to Louisiana and how we were looking for a job. It's very interesting. News of the week now. I know your specialty, your background is on health care. The Supreme Court may rule against the subsidies perhaps tomorrow, maybe Friday. If that's the case, what's the proper course for Republicans after that?
Well, look, Bill, I think Republicans, I've been saying this for some time, need a pass or repeal and replace plan even before the court has ruled. I think the reality is the president lied to us. He told us he was going to reduce premiums, reduce health care costs. That didn't happen. Instead, I think the Republicans should get rid of all of Obamacare, replace it with a plan. I've offered a detailed plan that does 3 things. One, that actually reduces cost. Secondly, that truly helps the vulnerable. And third, that provides portability and choice. That means, for example, revamping the tax code. That means so that everybody has a standard deduction, whether you buy your health care through your employer or not. multi-state sale of insurance, allow people to join voluntary purchasing pools, give expanded access to health savings accounts, state grants to help those with pre-existing conditions, those that are priced out of the individual market, crack down on frivolous lawsuits. There are things we can do to actually improve access to affordable health care. We don't need government bureaucrats between doctors and their patients. That's the fundamental mistake of Obamacare, thinking that Washington, D.C. knows best.
Well, we're going to find out a bit later what you have to say about that and more. We'll be watching at 5 o'clock later today, and we'll see what the Supreme Court says on that as well. Governor, thank you for your time. Good luck to you, and we'll see you out on the trail, all right?
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. Bobby Jindal.